Welcome to Postgame on the Pitch. I'm Masvita Mara-Ira of CascadiaSports.net. To my right, John Marshall of MLS Great Britain. To my left, Stephen Hagan of Radio Cascadia. And gentlemen, let's just get right into this. The Sounders lose 1-0, an uneventful match. John, your takeaway?
I mean, the biggest thing is, again, they failed to score at home. Seventh game out of 10 they've been shut out this season. It's just been really disappointing performances offensively at home. And part of that, a lot of injuries, guys leaving for a World Cup and such, but still there's not enough creation from this team, Schmetzer said afterwards, that they aren't really creating enough.
We're going to get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you short, but we're really going to
course.
delve into that a little bit. Stephen, your quick takeaway, and then let's get to put a little meat on the bones.
It's just hard to judge anything the Sounders do right now while they're so banged up. I don't think there's a roster in MLS that would look good or that would play well if they had as many guys out as Seattle does. And it's a rock and a hard place. There's not really a quick solution or easy answer. It's just more that it is tough to assign blame at this point in time.
All right, let's start right now. Stephen, I'm going to stay with you on that. I mean, we can talk about injuries, we can talk about World Cup, we know some of the players are gone, but the reality is, look where you're at in terms of your record. You are at home, let me just read it right here. 3 losses, 1 win, and 1 draw. It's supposed to be a fortress. I mean, this is a performance-based business. What do you do now? Where do you go?
And to expand on the stats there, I mean, they've lost more times at home in this young 2018 season than they had under Brian Schmetzer cumulatively in the rest of his tenure. It's where do you go? You try and you find ways to take points where you can find them between now and the time that reinforcements come in. But ultimately, that is the point for me, is that it's just not fair or reasonable to expect that the team that they're putting out there right now is going to take results.
And we can talk about the management and all that other philosophy, but John, going back to, you talked about it, they've only scored 7 goals at home, right? And is that a system? Is it the injuries? I mean, 7 goals is 7 goals. That's a league low, by the way.
Yeah, it is. And part of it is going to be, the injuries, the players missing. Part of it, I think, is less systemic, more mental, where Christian Roldan after the match was saying, that there's passes that aren't being made that should be made, that mentally that they're not making the right decisions at times, that they're not finishing the chances that they should or creating the chances that they should, because mentally they're not 90 minutes fit, if that makes sense. Their mental game right now is not complete. They're not finishing out games. They're giving up late goals consistently when they should be defending better. Christian even said on the goal that they gave up that they should be stopping that. They shouldn't be giving them that much space, and Schmetzer said they need to be defending inside out, not outside in. And it's little tiny mistakes that multiple different players, not the same person, but multiple players right now are making, and they need to find a way to remedy that.
If I could just touch on that real quick.
Right.
Schmetzer gave 3 reasons in his post-game interview for the last 3 1-0 losses that Sounders have suffered. He kind of tried to break it down to, well, look, it's a Fry error in LA, it's a Delem error in Portland, it's a Leerdam error today here in Seattle. That is true in the sense that those are, factually the reasons why they conceded the 3 goals they conceded. But beyond that, it does kind of ignore the larger problem of the fact that across 90 minutes, they didn't look like they were going to win those games for the most part.
The bottom line is this, guys, is that this team is in disarray. I mean, going back in terms of what Christian Roldan, and Christian was talking about, look, they're passing when they shouldn't. When they should pass, they don't. When they don't, they pass. So really, this team is in disarray. You talked about the injuries or not, but at some point, this is supposed to be the coach trying to put these together. I like Schmetzer, great guy, but you're not performing. The team is disarray, and Schmetzer, being who he is, said, you know what, it begins with him. Basically, he did the Michael Jackson man in the mirror in terms of them as the team. That's where they're going to start. But given this, what can the Sounders do themselves to break out of this? One thing that you would do right now. Don't give me a long-winded answer. Give me 2 things. I'll give you 2, since you're a knowledgeable guy.
There's going to be a lot of criticism about the substitutes today, and I don't know that made the difference. I don't think it made the difference between Seattle taking a point out of this or not. But that being said, Schmetzer subbed on 2 outside backs when they were in need of a goal, and he looked to stay as goal dangerous in the midfield and going forward as he possibly could. But it didn't work. It just straight up didn't work, right? And so you have to say that's a failed experiment. Schmetzer can be more effective with subs than he was today. Felix Chenkum stays on the bench. I'm not telling you that he's the answer. I'm pretty sure that subbing on McCrary and Francis is not the answer.
Okay, so you're saying substitutions, not as long as he was. Tell me one thing you would do right now.
One thing I would do right now, you got to get the team playing quicker. They're not making passes fast enough and moving up the field fast enough, and it's allowing defenses to get back and put men inside the box.
Is this your type of ball, though? I mean, is this the type of system that you have? Do you have the players to play that system?
I think, you have guys like Nuhu who are quick. You have guys like Alex and Christian Roldan who are quick that can get on the end of those. I think you have the players to make that work, and it's not even speed getting at the field. It's just connecting passes and not holding onto the ball for too long. It's 1-2 touch, make a quick pass, move the ball up the field, keep defenses guessing, keep them moving, make them chase you.
All right.
It's not about Nuhu stretching his legs down the wing. It's about each individual player in the attack needs to think and act quicker than they are right now.
Exactly.
And
Okay.
they need to be
All
quicker
right.
to recognize the incisive moment.
So
right?
we're gonna go back to them to making smarter decisions.
Yeah.
So now, so thank you for that one. And you're saying substitutions. I agree with both of you in terms of that the pace of play. We've done this in the press box when we count how many times the player holds onto the ball and then pass that. We've done that before. So. Lucky enough for the Sounders, unfortunately for the Sounders, they play Real Salt Lake again, and we will see if Schmetzer gets the substitutions right, if they change their speed of play. And so for Stephen Hagan, Radio Cascadia, for John Marshall, MLS Great Britain, I'm Asvita Mara-Ire, Postgame on the Pitch. Thank you for joining us, CascadiaSports.net if you get a chance. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for your insight.
Thanks so much, Maz.